Please rise if you wish for the invocation and the pledge. Dear God, our anticipation for the coming holidays is building. As we look to Thanksgiving, we are grateful for the many blessings here in DeBary, for our strong communities and caring neighbors. We thank you, too, for our families and the times we share with them. As we consider the matters before us this evening, grant us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that we may make the best decisions for those who have entrusted us to represent them. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is the special City Council meeting for the month of November. City Clerk, would you do the roll call, please?
Councilmember Sell?
Here.
Councilmember Papalardo?
Here.
Councilmember Stevenson?
Here.
Mayor Chazet?
Here.
Vice Mayor Butlin?
Here. Okay. Are there any deletions or amendments to the agenda? Hearing none, we will move on to the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items 1 and 2 as listed.
Second.
Vice Mayor Butlin?
Yes.
Councilmember Papalardo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sell?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson?
Yes.
And I am a yes. The first item under new business, agenda item number 3, is a staff request of the council to approve resolution number 2025-22 to amend the fiscal year 2024 to 2025 budget. City Attorney, would you read resolution number 2025-22?
Yes, Mayor. A resolution of the City of DeBary, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2024 to 2025 budget, changing certain revenues and expenditures, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you.
Good evening, Liz Bauer, Finance Director for the City of DeBary, and we'll just get to the items in this budget amendment. It's a pretty short budget amendment, actually. We'll start with the general fund. In the general fund, we are adding some revenues to the Parks and Rec Department for their recreation services, including their rentals. They had some increased participation in more rental activity this year. And with that, they have to cover their additional costs for salary and wages, which included some overtime and certification pay increases and some special event costs. And we're also transferring in $6,000 from Fund 312 into general fund. This will close out Fund 312. Then for the Hurricane Ian costs related to a DRC mediation agreement that was approved in May of 2025, we have to recognize $531,000 of additional costs for that hurricane through the mediation process that was determined, and as it was presented back in May, that money will come from reserves. And we are in the process of seeking FEMA reimbursement for that, so we'll have to go down that process to seek reimbursement. The next fund we're amending is the Orlandia Heights Fund, and their board of directors made some decisions during the year to spend approximately $18,000 more on road maintenance than originally anticipated. Then we have Fund 120, which is the Stormwater Fund. During this year in April, the Volusia County donated a piece of land to us that's located at Fort Florida in 1792. The value placed on that by the property appraiser was $162,450. So we're recognizing the donated income basically, as well as the land purchase. And just for your information, this piece of property was part of a larger property exchange agreement that was done in 2023. And this piece of property will be sold. It was sold in October of 25 as part of that larger property exchange agreement. So later when I do an amendment for fiscal year 26, that will be part of it. The big amendment we have here in Fund 127, which is the Mobility Fund, relates to House Bill 479, in which only the permitting entity could collect fees. And we were collecting a Volusia County impact fee during the whole year of fiscal year 25. And you all approved an agreement on October 1st, 2025 related to these funds. And whatever funds were collected within the mobility area, the city of DeBary got to retain, and that totaled $1.76 million. And that money is dedicated for the Dirksen project. So this amendment recognizes that revenue that we collected of the Volusia County impact fees and puts it in a committed reserve for the Dirksen project in Fund 127. We also completed a $54,000 mobility plan update in 25, which I'm just moving some money from the capital line to the operating line to cover that study. In the Park Impact Fee Fund, we had an agreement back in 2021 with Rivington for some park upgrades, trail upgrades, and this year, by the end of 9/30/25, Rivington had completed Phase 2B, 1A, and 1C of the trail, and so they submitted all the proper paperwork to be reimbursed for those segments of the trail. And then in Fund 312, we're just transferring the last $6,000 in that fund back to general fund to close that fund. And with that, we recommend approval of Resolution 2025-22 to amend the fiscal year 24-25 budget.
Thank you. City Clerk, do we have any public participation?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Councilmember Sell, questions or comments?
No questions.
Councilmember Papalardo.
No questions.
Councilmember Stevenson.
No questions, thank you.
Vice Mayor Butlin.
Thank you, Mayor. The only question I have is Orlandia Heights. They reimburse, they come back to us. We collect from them individually, correct?
They are assessed a non-ad valorem
They're assessed,
assessment.
okay.
It comes to us through the tax collector.
Collections.
And then all that money gets to pay for their expenditures.
Okay, just
It's
want-
not a city expenditure, it's an
Right.
Orlandia Heights.
I just want to make sure that was
Correct.
clarified.
Yes.
That's it, thank you.
Okay, and I have no further questions either, so I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution number 2025-22 to amend the fiscal year 2024 through 2025 budget.
Second?
Councilmember Papalardo?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Butlin?
Yes.
Councilmember Sell?
Yes.
And I am a yes. The next item on our agenda under new business is item number 4. The staff is requesting the City Council approve the employee health insurance plans through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida and Guardian as recommended by staff for the plan year January 1, 2026 to December 31, 2026, with an approximate cost to the city based on current enrollment of $643,640 using the approved fiscal year 26 budget of $725,078 and authorize the city manager to execute required contractual documents.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Wendy Cullen, Human Resource Director, City of DeBary, presenting you our health insurance program proposed for the 2026 calendar year. So as you are aware, for the past, well, I've been here 5 years, so for at least that long, we have had Cigna Healthcare for our health insurance. And this year, they came back initially with a 38% increase, which of course is unsustainable. Their original renewal was $825,992 based on current enrollment for administrative fees and claims costs. And so we did as we always do, and we go out for competitive bid through our broker, Brown & Brown of Florida, located in Daytona Beach. And one of the options they returned to us was Blue Cross Blue Shield for a very similar program with a annual cost based on current enrollment of $591,129. That's, as you can tell, is a very slight decrease over what we are currently paying, $598,438,000. That's based on our current enrollment, and that is the amount of the city and employee contribution combined. Our monthly premium costs, as they currently are through Cigna for the 2025 plan year, is illustrated in the center column, and the proposed for Blue Cross Blue Shield is the third column. As you can see, there has been a significant decrease in the cost of employee-only coverage, and unfortunately, in my agenda item, I noted that there was a decrease in employee and child costs, but that was just my fingers moving faster than my brain, so there is a Scribner's error there that will be corrected. But all of the dependent costs rose just slightly. Now, how the city has historically calculated the premium costs and the cost sharing with employees and staff with the city is they would take the employee-only premium amount, they would deduct that from the dependent cost, and then they would provide a cost share of employees to determine what the employees paid for coverage. A few years ago, that was 28%. Last year, we moved that to be a little bit higher based on the claims paid in excess refunds that we'd been getting, credits we'd been getting. And so what happened this year when we dropped approximately $46 in the employee-only cost, that resulted in those employees with dependents, their premiums going up significantly, because that's $46 per month the employees with dependents were not covering. And then on top of the calculation for dependent coverage, those employees with dependents were actually covering the cost of the entire reduction in the plan. It was a pretty big disparity, and so staff is recommending, in order to challenge that or complement that disparity, is that we take the percentage amount that the city paid for premiums last year at each level and apply that to the new premium structure. So last year, the city paid 66.5% of spousal coverage, 69.2% of employee and child coverage, and 56.5% of family coverage. So that is the cost share that we're looking at proposing for this year. And while doing that, you'll see that the employer contribution through Blue Cross Blue Shield would be $514,310. Based on current enrollment, which is still a deduction from the annual amount that we are paying this year for Cigna of $526,644. So although the city will continue to see a decrease, staff with dependents will see a slight increase in premiums, but that seemed to be the best way to not pass the entire cost savings or fund the entire cost savings from those with dependents. The next part of the proposal is to provide the initial seed money to our health savings accounts, as we do every year. This year, the IRS has set the minimum premium amount or deductible amount at $1,700 for an individual-only plan. And so based on current enrollment, that would include $79,900 in HSA contributions. Moving on to dental and vision, of course, when we change carriers, we have to look at our ancillaries. And so the city currently pays 100% of employee-only coverage for our basic dental plan and 100% of our vision plan. Guardian came in with a very competitive quote that provides for an 18.8% reduction in the dental costs and a 19.5% reduction in vision, which really translates to just a little itty-bitty $769 a year, because the cost of the plan is so inexpensive. And so we are recommending the switch to Guardian in order to take advantage of those savings. Ancillary costs, short-term disability, long-term disability, and life insurance. So we pay for $50,000 of life insurance for all staff. We also pay for their short-term disability and long-term disability. Our current carrier is New York Life. I've been unhappy with their service, and so we again asked for competitive quotes on that product. And Guardian came back as part of the package at the following rates: $10,612 for short-term, $12,068 for long-term. Life insurance at $50,000 per employee would be just under $7,000. And so that is still a decrease of $374 for those package products for the year. And then finally, we have to have a conversation about the city manager's life insurance. So according to his contract, we agree to purchase 2 times his base salary in life insurance. The problem is that his annual salary is now $227,000, which brings us to an amount of just approaching $454,000 in life insurance, and our carrier will only write $280,000. Now, with evidence of insurability, they will write a little bit more than that, but that still doesn't bring us to the $454,000. If the other issue with that is, sorry, Mr. Rosamonda, but he is no longer under 67.
I'm old.
And so because of that, the insurance is actually reduced by 35%. They will only write 65% of the policy amount. So we are paying for the 2 times base salary in premium costs, but not getting that amount of life insurance for him and his family. So the conversation I would like to have going forward, since we cannot currently meet that contractual obligation, is how council would like us to address that. So I put a couple of considerations up there right now. As I said, he's 67 years old. That would go down to a 60% age reduction at 70 for the group life. Voluntary life would end when he turns 70. And as his salary changes, so does the amount that we're required to provide for him. So the options that I have come up with is either to remove the 2 times salary language from his contract and say that we will bind whatever life insurance amount based on current carriers, what they will allow up to the max for Mr. Rosamonda. And then we would just, whatever that is every year, that's what that would be. We would go out for the most, and then we would pay for the most. We could seek quotations for term life outside of our group rates to secure amount required by contract, and then that would have to be reviewed every year as salary rates changes. We could explore other changes to his compensation package in order to make up the difference, whether it be paying for 100% of his family health insurance, because he currently carries his spouse, or an additional contribution to his retirement plan. So really, I'm just seeking direction as to what research you would like for me to provide and carry forward and bring back to a subsequent meeting. And then with that, I will take questions.
City Clerk, do we have any public participation?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Councilmember Sell, questions and comments?
It's simple. We just lower his salary to meet his our promise to him, or lie about his age. It's actually a pretty big deal. I mean, as you get older, I think about it as well. Personally, I'd like to see us keep our promise to him and do 2 times his salary for his life insurance, if at all possible. If that's not possible, then we would definitely have to come up with another angle, I guess.
And if I may, a further consideration while we have this conversation in this process is that the IRS allows for organizations to purchase $50,000 worth of life insurance for their employees. Anything over $50,000, that value is taxable. So if we go out and purchase additional life insurance for Mr. Rosamonda, we would have to calculate how much we spent on that every year and then make an annual adjustment to ensure that he is taxed for that. We currently do that with our current product because, of course, we provide him with more than $50,000 worth of life. But the more expensive these products might become, the more tax implications we would have to discuss with Mr. Rosamonda as it relates to his overall compensation.
Would it behoove us to ask him if he would cap it at $450,000?
I suppose if that is the direction council would like to go to renegotiate that section of his contract, we could certainly entertain that.
I'm just trying to make it kind of easy for everybody, but try to keep our promise.
Maybe we will have everybody's comments first
Yeah,
before we
that's fine.
start floating specific questions,
That's
if
just a
you
thought.
don't mind. Councilmember Papalardo.
First, very pleased with the new premiums.
Thank you.
That's great. Let that be a lesson to everyone. Now is the time to get your insurance rewritten. Go get shopping. Everyone can get a deal for every type of insurance almost right now. So I'm in the industry, so I'm familiar with a lot of the behaviors happening here. Our city manager is definitely in a higher risk category now, and I suspect that going out on the market for term life might be cost prohibitive. So I'm glad that we have a few other options that we can explore, whether it's some type of alternative form of compensation worth the value of the would-be incremental cost. Perhaps we can maintain a 1X group life policy that already exists or whatever before it starts getting the really high step-ups of additional coverage. And then that gap, we find a way to compensate differently, be that in the terms of some type of retirement benefit or otherwise. Or we can just, perhaps there is a middle ground that is, this is how much more it would cost to cover you. We'll give you, we'll find a way to compensate somewhere in that middle ground. Where that middle ground falls is up for, determination. But that's kind of, thank you for proposing those options.
Right. Thank you.
Councilmember Stevenson.
I'd also like to start off by saying thank you for shopping around for insurance. Everybody, I think, is doing that this time of the year. And there's a lot of options out there. I think you guys will be happy with Blue Cross. They have a lot of providers locally. With regards to the life insurance, can we go back to the slide that had some of the options there?
Did you want the one with the life insurance costs, potentially?
No, the one before this. Yeah, there we go.
Thank you.
So the benefits, I'd be fine with increasing the contribution to a retirement plan or otherwise compensating for dependents if the life insurance couldn't be found to reach that 2x salary. But I'd also be open to hearing what Mr. Rosamondo wanted to see happen.
Vice Mayor Butlin?
Thank you, Mayor. I also would like to know what Mr. Rosamondo is thinking and what is acceptable to him as far as this contract goes. I know life insurance is kind of one of those one-off things that you either have a good one or you don't have a good one. It's really hard to determine at this point what's out there in the world of life insurance. And I know term and all that stuff, at this age, it's hard, it's more expensive to start it. But I think we need more clarification as to what the need is and how we can actually fulfill that need.
What I would add to the discussion is, and it's something that I did mention to our HR manager this afternoon, and it will take a little bit of time to research, is that perhaps a policy that I wouldn't, Jim, you probably would also not recommend in another circumstance, but there is a blended product which is universal life with long-term care. And we don't have long-term care in our employee package. That's not a generally offered policy for employees. But the closer you are to retirement or the further you are in retirement, the more important it is for many people to fill that gap in their financial planning for retirement. And there might be a way to secure some kind of universal life hybrid policy with long-term care component that then would be a policy that upon retirement, the city manager could continue to pay because of the long-term care element. And the two together offer either, if you die, you get a benefit. If you need help because you're in a facility, you get a benefit. And then whatever residual goes to your, it may be a more expensive option, but depending on what is available now, there might be an attractive component for the city manager in his overall financial planning. So all these other ideas that we've had, I think, should be explored. And then will ask the city manager his opinion. But that was an idea that occurred to me based on some personal experience in planning for long-term financial health for myself in retirement. So I'm not sure that will come out to be economical, but I'd like to see the question asked, and I think she's already begun the exploration to see what might be available there. Normally speaking, when I said you might not recommend as straight up universal life, you probably wouldn't recommend straight up universal life. But universal life hybrid with LTC, maybe that would offer something that'd be really attractive for the city manager if we found a good product. Okay, city manager, we're going to give her some direction on, as I see it, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to give her some direction on things for her to research, to use her professional knowledge, because we're so fortunate to have such a great professional in this role for the city, and then to come back with us, I'm hoping, at the first meeting in December, because anything that involves a contract modification needs to be done before Jan 1, which is the start of the new program year, the new policy year. So what ideas would you like to see explored? That doesn't commit us to paying for them. What ideas would you like us to see like to see explored, and do any of these have more attraction for you than another, without having the data and knowing that the data could change?
I'm not difficult. This is, I'm trying to be as compromising as possible, but I know I'm 67 years young, not old.
Correct,
Yeah.
sorry.
No. But anyway, just to put light on it, a base, maybe looking at the option of universal, like you said.
A LTC and universal life hybrid policy that might offer some upside for you in,
And I-
whenever you retire at 92,
Yeah.
then you would want continue paying for the plan yourself.
I can carry it with me.
And you could carry it with you, I believe.
That's an option. The other option is do the base, so that, like the 270, I think it was 274, 247, I can't remember what it was.
Right.
And then do something with the retirement to equalize over time. And just trying to make it as simple as
Right.
possible.
Now, the term policy, of course, ends at your retirement.
Correct.
So so as we're thinking of this, it's important to know that this isn't like an asset that has value that he will carry with him over the next decade or so if he retires. Term, it's going to be over when we quit paying for it. It's not going to be an individual policy, generally speaking, that he can pick up on his own without getting it rebid and priced as a standalone policy. So it does have while it has a great value to his family, if he isn't with us and he's still sitting in the job as a full-time employee, also, if he makes retirement age and we haven't used the term life policy, it doesn't have any value to him at that point. So I think that we need to think about that too. It's not a benefit that as an actual $247,000 benefit, that is only if he's no longer there to support his family and he was a full-time employee when that happened. It's a $900 benefit. And I just think when you're thinking about it, that is something you want to keep in mind. It's not hundreds of thousands of benefit. So anyway, I think perhaps you have enough guidance unless, yes.
May I propose one
Yes.
more thought? What if we approach this as a reimbursable expense, that if the city manager were to seek a quote for a 10-year term life to the degree of roughly 2 times base salary, he would pay independently submit for reimbursement on a monthly basis, just as an alternative bar
Okay.
on it.
Yeah. The difficulty there is you do have an insurability threshold. He doesn't as part of the group, and he will as part of that. And I'm not saying that that's an issue, but it is a facet of that proposal that might have some influence on how we did it. So is that enough guidance to give you an idea of the things we'd like explored? And then using your professional judgment, would you bring back some proposals and costs by our 1st of December meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I also would say, unless any of you has an issue, if you want to discuss with the city manager some of the proposals as they come in, if he has a strong feeling one way or the other, at least you would know that, and you also, as far as I'm concerned, would have the ability to speak to each member of us individually if there was something that you felt you needed to work through prior to the first meeting of December, individually, of course.
Of course, thank you.
Okay. Anything further?
Well, you need to
business.
approve the benefit package.
We need to approve the benefit package. We've got a vote.
I'll move to approve the employee health insurance plans through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida and Guardian as recommended by staff for plan year January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2026, from the approximate cost of the city based on enrollment of $643,640, utilizing approved fiscal year 2026 budget of $725,078, and to authorize city manager to execute required contractual documents.
Second.
Councilmember Papalardo.
Yes.
Councilmember Sell.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Butlin. And I am a yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Moving on to number 5, the city manager, he's asking a lot.
Telling you. He's
The city manager is requesting the city council approve a one-time additional paid holiday for benefits eligible employees on Friday, December 26, 2025.
Thank you, Mayor. The calendar is what it is. The 26th falls on a Friday right after Christmas. I think some other organizations, the state has already moved to make that a holiday for the state employees as well. And I think as a reward for our employees, obviously, we look at it as that way, but also the amount of volume of work on that particular day will probably be near zero. We have a lot of online. You can still, we got our golf cart permits online. We have our building permits are online. So there's a lot of online activities that can be done. Many of us are on call anyway, and so with your approval, we'd like to see grant our employees the reward. It has been a phenomenal year. They have done a phenomenal job, and I thought that this would be a good benefit for them and a reward for them for the outstanding job. As you know, we only have 48 employees, and I think we accomplish as much, if not more, than any other city with that kind of staff. So I asked your approval for one additional holiday for the day after Christmas, December the 26th.
Okay, City Clerk, do we have any public participation?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Councilmember Sell? Question or comment?
I think this is great.
Councilmember Papalardo?
No comments.
Councilmember Stevenson?
I have no problem with this.
Vice Mayor Butlin?
I have no problem with this, except what about January 2nd? What do we have off on New Year's? Just New Year's Day?
Just New Year's Day.
Just New Year's Day.
Okay. I would think the second would be.
I have only one little thought, and that is, I don't have a problem with doing this. The state has done it. I think it's fine. I don't really want to follow the logic, though, that we add an extra holiday, other than this one-time thing, that we add an extra holiday because everybody has done such a good job this year.
Okay.
That puts it into a different category and makes it more likely that if we don't do it next year, if we don't add Monday, the 28th,
Right.
that it'll be because we didn't want to say they did a great job this year. You can see this would be a slippery slope. At least I feel it would be a slippery slope.
Let's nix that, Mayor.
So I don't want to, I like the one-time additional paid holiday for calendar reasons, et cetera, but every year you could find why the calendar favored one more day, and particularly if we cast it in, this is a benefit because you all did so fabulously this year. Our staff does fabulously every year, and that would be more like an entrenched additional holiday, which we ought to have more discussion if we were trying to do
I
that.
agree.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right. So do you want a motion for this, or you just want consent?
Motion.
A motion, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the one-time additional paid holiday for benefits eligible employees on Friday, December 26, 2025.
Vice Mayor Butlin?
Yes.
Councilmember Sell?
Yes.
Councilmember Papalardo?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson?
Yes.
And I am a yes. So we move on to member reports and communications. Councilmember Sell.
I got to attend the event at the splash pad with the dogs on Sunday. Great weather, good turnout. The vendors are all very friendly, and we have probably a pound of treats given to us by all the vendors there. I look forward to maybe doing this again next year. My hat's off to all those that were involved. This time next week, I'll be on a plane to Amsterdam. So I want to wish you guys all a happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe. Enjoy the extra day off with your family. And that's it.
Okay. Councilmember Papalardo?
A couple weeks ago, I got to speak to School of Government.
Yes.
And then last week, I was invited to speak on a leadership panel at Stetson. Those students are doing good stuff, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Councilmember Stevenson?
Nothing to report. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Vice Mayor Butland?
Thank you, Mayor. I also spoke at the School of Government here. Kids had a lot of questions this year, more than I think they have in the past. I also attended the elected officials roundtable down in Daytona Beach, which is always interesting to hear what's going on with all that group. I also attended the Volusia League of Cities board meeting, and they're truly focused on advocacy and getting people up to all the sessions that we can possibly get up to. There's a whole team that goes up almost every week, so I'm excited to hear that they're continuing that, and that's working really well. Of course, last week we had ComStat. It feels like so many weeks ago already.
Yeah.
We had ComStat with the sheriff's office and all his crew, and that was wonderful to hear, although I'm sure the mayor's got it in her notes, that we are still the safest city in Volusia County. And maybe the state of Florida, and maybe the country. I also attended Team Volusia board meeting this week, or last week, I should say, and they're ready to go forward. They have a lot of things in the pipeline, and they do a funnel, and it's narrowed down. They actually have, where they normally have one, they have about 5 different things in the pipeline, where it's usually just one at this point. So it's very exciting to see their growth there. So that's it for me. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you. I also spent time with the School of Government. I thought they were, as usual, very engaged young people, and it was a good morning. I also attended ComStat. The news about our statistics was very good. I will note that the sheriff is going to do Shop with a Cop in West Volusia this year, and they are collecting at the sheriff's station toys, particularly for teens, because Carla Kwan was here, and she heads up the juvenile services, the juvenile center, and she said they get a lot of donated toys, but the teens are largely forgotten. So I am gathering things. I said, well, what do they want? And what she said got me to thinking, and I think I have appropriate things, but I think teens are looking more for like personal care products, like a Bath and Body Works kind of thing, or a makeup kit kind of thing for teenage girls, or I picked up some sort of I don't know, push-up board or something for guys, and a Bluetooth speaker for guys, and that kind of thing. I'm sure you have ideas too, but we have a couple of avenues for donating toys going up into the holiday season, and that is one. They will collect them at the station, and if you can think of teenagers and are open to doing that kind of thing, I would encourage you to do that. And in addition, we have our traditional collection of toys, I think up to age 14 in our box out here, for distribution here in DeBary at the DeBary Civic Center. And that has been a tradition in our city for many, many years. And we always gather those toys from the community and as anyone else who comes to City Hall. And I would encourage you to participate in that if you're so inclined as well. And I too would say, happy Thanksgiving to all, and see you in December.
Happy belated birthday, Patricia.
Yes. There's no additional, city manager?
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mayor. Just the Christmas decorations on the street are going up this week.
Right? We did them early because of last year's being so
Yeah,
late.
and the Christmas tree is actually going up at Gateway right now. So happy Thanksgiving. Got a lot to be thankful for.
Yes.
Thank you.
City Attorney,
Nothing about legal matters tonight. Happy
Oh.
Thanksgiving.
thank you. Hearing nothing further, we stand adjourned.